Basic electrical engineering. In our previous video we have learned about the conducting materials. In that, different types of materials: conductors, semiconductors, insulators, dielectric materials, magnetic materials, separate special purpose material and its properties. All the things related to electrical engineering material. In this video we are going to learn about the heat treatment of metals. To desire for getting the desired applications for desired results, pure conductor material is not enough. We have to give some heat treatment to the metals to change their mechanical properties. We already studied the electrical, mechanical and economical properties of the material in our previous class. For this purpose, we are taking the help of heat treatment. What are the methods of heat treatment? To improve the properties of conducting materials, we are using certain heat treatment methods. In that, the most commonly used methods are hardening and annealing. Let's see what is this annealing. Annealing is a heat process in which the metal or alloy is heated to a predetermined temperature for a considerable time and then cooled slowly. Then what happens? This process softens the metal. And it can be cut, bent, shaped more easily. By this, the material should be able to acquire different shapes, textures and colors during manufacture process. The predetermined temperature up to which the metal is heated depends on type of materials. This predetermined temperature is depend upon the type of material. It's different for copper, bronze, aluminium, like that. If the material is cooled quickly, it becomes very hard, but also brittle. This means it is likely to break. So, in this process, what we are doing, the material is allowed to cool slowly. It becomes relatively soft. Hence, it is easy to bend, cut and shape. We are getting our desired shapes or textures by this process. Overall, annealing is, it gives smooth, soft to the material. Next thing is what? Hardening. Hardening is used to process the material to give some toughness or hardness. Annealing and hardening are two different and two quite opposite processes. Annealing for the purpose of softening. Hardening is for the purpose of giving toughness to the material. Here, what is this hardening? Hardening is heat treatment process in which the metal or alloy is heated to a predetermined temperature, like annealing, for a considerable time and then cooled very quickly. In annealing, we are cooled it slowly. Here, we are cooled it very quickly. The metal must be cooled quickly by spraying or by submerging the cold water, oil or another liquid like that. Instant cooling will takes place. Then why we are doing here like this? This process increase the hardness of the metal. Hardened metal is difficult to cut, bend and shape. They become very tough and will not wear over time. It gives life to the machine. The predetermined temperature of the metal is heated. The predetermined temperature is completely depend on the type of material like copper, aluminum, brass, like that. So what is the difference between this annealing and hardening? What we are observed? In annealing, the process is we are predetermined the temperature, we are heated up to that temperature, but after heating we cooled it very slowly in the process of annealing. But in this case of hardening, we are cooled it very quickly. That is a basic difference between hardening and annealing. In annealing process, the cooling plays very slowly, so it gives some smoothness to the material. It is very easier to cut, bend and shape. In hardening, the cooling process is very quick. It is submerged in cold water, oil or another liquid like that. So it gives very hardness to the material and gives very toughness. It will not broken or wear for the long period of time. So depend upon the situation. Sometimes we are using annealing treatment, sometimes we are using this hardening treatment. So what are the properties to be considered while selecting a material for a special purpose in electrical application? We have to consider its properties. By studying its properties, we are selecting the material which its application is suited. For what application, which material is best and effective. Those type of properties are electrical properties, and some mechanical properties are also there. And in addition to this electrical and mechanical properties, we will study its economical properties also. Let's see what is the electrical properties here considered. The electrical properties for the conducting material mostly considerable are: the conducting material should possess a very good conductivity. It must be high. And next, the resistivity must be low, so that high conduction takes place and the desired power can be transmitted. Next, it should be minimum power loss even when large electrical current is passing through it. And it should have low temperature coefficient, so that change of resistance with change in temperature will be low. And it should be withstand high temperature for long time without oxidation, and the material should possess good insulating properties to prevent the flow of any leakage currents. If it has joints, the joint should have minimum contact resistance, so that it is accessible for soldering and welding purpose. So what are the things mainly? Conductivity, resistivity, temperature coefficient, and the temperature resistance must be low. If the resistance will be low, then what happen? Heat dissipation also low. Losses will be less. These are the electrical properties we are considering. Next, if we move to the mechanical properties, the considerable mechanical properties should possess the conducting materials are they should have very much mechanical strength, and it is ductile and malleable. Ductility means it is a property of a material which allows it to draw into a wire. Next, it should be high resistant to corrosion, so that it cannot get rusted when used in outdoors. It should be ductile to be and malleable. Then what happen? Then it can be drawn into thin wires. We never used thick wires. Because of that, heat losses will be more. That's why instead of using a solid wire, we are using thin layers of wires. How to make these thin wires? If this property of this ductile and malleability is there, then only we convert that material into thin type of wires. These thin wires must have very good mechanical strength, otherwise it will be break, right? And they should have low density to get lighter in weight. If the wires, all those things are very heavy weight, then it is very difficult for transmission and distribution. So it should have light in weight but having good mechanical strength. The material should not lose its electrical and mechanical properties with the variation in atmosphere condition also. Means definitely it should withstand stresses and strain, and it is must be easy to fabricate. These are the some mechanical properties. What are the main? Ductility and malleability, corrosion, resistant to corrosion, and solidity, and low density, and withstand stresses and strain, should not lose its properties with the variation in atmosphere conditions. The low resistive material should have low temperature of position, high mechanical strength, enough ductility and malleability, and minimum contact resistance for easy soldering, high resistance to corrosion, less power losses and voltage drops, long services life, low cost and easily available the market. All those things requirements are there in the low resistive type of material. To observe all the things, we select a material, that is copper. Here gold, silver is also having very low resistive material comparative with copper. But why we are selecting copper here? Because of that, by considering the economical conditions, the cost of the silver and gold is very much high comparative with copper. That's why it has very limited applications. So we are using copper by satisfying all the conditions what we are talking up to now. So what is this copper? Why it is very famous as a conducting material used in our electrical engineering? Let's study. Copper, it is most widely used conducting material because of its high conductivity and low resistivity. It is a non-magnetic material. It has a very good physical and chemical properties. the copper commonly recovered from sulfide ores. It has high electrical and thermal conductivity, and it gives widely variety of metallic properties. And this copper is of due to physical and chemical properties and electrical properties, it is available in two forms. Because of that, we are already talking about the heat treatment. What are the types of heat treatment we are used? Annealing and hardening. If we anneal to our copper, then what will take place? Annealed copper. This annealed copper is very soft, flexible, has less tensile strength. So, this type of copper is used for making this type of cables. Like that. Another type is hardening treatment. If we give this hardening treatment to our copper, then it converted as hard drawn copper. This hard drawn copper is very hard and has high tensile strength than this annealed copper. It is commonly used for overheaded line conductors and high voltage underground cables and bus bars like that. Depend upon this application, the copper, sometimes we are used it as annealed copper and sometimes we are used as hard copper. Right? After the copper, the next rank is going to aluminium. Okay, up to now we are talking about this copper. The applications mostly used for the copper are cables for transmission and distribution of power, and is used for windings of electrical generators, motors and transformers, and it is used for making coils for many applications. It is used for overhead conductors and bus bars. It is used as contact materials for control, relays, motor starters, switches and tap changers. Overall, it is used for conductors and flexible wires. Because of that, we are having two types, both annealing and hardening also. After the copper, the next rank is going to what? Aluminium. Why? Because of that, aluminium is silvery in color and it has a very good electrical conductivity, but not as like copper. It is next rank of the copper. It is having much lighter. It is much lighter than the copper. This aluminium is having very good mechanical strength also. But what is the disadvantage? Disadvantages of this aluminium is that it has high contact resistance and hence it is difficult to solder. The current carrying capacity is 70% that of copper and its weight is 1/3 times that of copper. For a given resistance, the cross section of the aluminium conductor is 60% greater. than that of copper, and its weight is only 48.3% of that of copper conductor. So aluminum is used to make conductors, tubes, sheets as it is like copper, but compared to with copper, aluminum has a little bit low in current carrying capacity, and due to these reasons and it occupies very high place, due to this copper is good. Mouthwash chesko. It is very much lighter than copper, more suitable for used in cold places. Let's see the applications of this aluminum. It is used in overhead transmission lines for transmission and distribution power, and it is used for conductors and flexible wires which are used in house wiring, and it is used for making bus bars. Mostly the pure aluminum is not used. It is used in the form of ACSR, aluminum conductor, steel reinforced conductors is used. It is used for making rotor bars in squirrel cage induction motor. It is used in aircraft industry. Due to what's the reason? It is very much lighter in weight. It is used for winding of electrical machines and transformers. So mostly than the normal aluminum, the preferred one is ACSRs. What is this ACSRs? ACSR stands for aluminum conductor, steel reinforced. Aluminum conductor, steel reinforced conductors are mostly used. The most commonly used conducting materials for overheaded lines of transmission and distribution and power are copper and aluminum. Copper has high electrical conductivity and great tensile strength, but due to its high cost, it is rarely used for this purpose. Because of that, our transmission and distribution lines are very much length, very heavy lines. Compared to with this copper, aluminum is cheap and light as compared to copper, but it has much smaller conductivity and tensile strength. In order to increase the tensile strength, the aluminum conductor is reinforced with a core of galvanized steel wires, and hence developed ACSRs, aluminum conductor, steel reinforced. Here ACSR consists of central core of galvanized steel wire surrounded by a number of aluminum strands. Nowadays, all overheaded transmission lines are made of ACSR conductors for transmission and distribution of power. Steel reinforce is done due to what? To increase the tensile strength of aluminum. Here, steel conductors used are galvanized in order to prevent rusting and corrosion. Here see, this is a steel core is in between around the aluminum conductor. It is generally in the ratio of 1:6, but it can be modified as 1:4 to get more tensile strength. Here this is a cross section of our ACSR. In this picture we can observe that aluminum is used at outer. Inner, the steel core, galvanized steel core is used. Due to this setting, what we are observed, the properties we are observed here is, it is cheaper than copper, it has high tensile strength, and it is readily available and having very good electrical conductivity and light in weight, and it has high resistance to corrosion. It is soft and high flexibility. It produces smaller sag and hence longer spans can be used. Due to this phenomena, that is a smaller sag, towers of smaller heights can be used. It has high contact resistance. So what is easy? Soldering to this is also easy. As it is being soft, there is always a possibility of loose contacts. Because of that, that material itself is very soft. These are the properties related to aluminum conductor, steel reinforced. After that, another thing is also there. AAC. What is this? It stands for all aluminum alloy conductors made for aluminum, magnesium, silicon alloy. This is also used sometimes, but in our India, ACSRs are used for transmission and distribution of power. All those things are related to low resistive materials. Next, move to the high resistive material category. High resistive material. These are mostly alloys of different materials and are used where large value of resistance is required. What is the special in this? The special property of this material is that they dissipate energy in the form of heat. A high resistive material, besides possessing high value of resistivity, and what is the important property, such as low temperature coefficient and high melting point and good mechanical strength also. Let's see our high resistive materials. These are the points. What is that? Material should have low conductivity and it is used where large value of resistances is required. High resistivity materials are mostly alloys of different materials like manganese, platinum, nichrome and tungsten, like that. Some common examples of our high resistivity materials are manganese, constant, nichrome, tungsten, carbon, platinum, mercury, eureka. These are the high resistivity material. Depend upon these practical applications. These high resistive materials are divided into three types of groups, I think. The first group is considered or used for making coils for electrical measuring instruments. Here see, this is a manganene. Manganene is used for this purpose. The second group consists of material used for making loads, rheostats and starters for electrical motors. Here constant is used. For measuring instruments, manganene is used. For rheostats, these are the rheostats and starters. The common material used for this application is constant. The third group consists of materials used for making heating elements. For electric irons, ovens, room heaters, electric furnaces, like that. We are commonly used in our house also. Our iron box is also made with nichrome. For those type of heating equipments, appliances, we are using nichrome. For measuring type of equipment we are used in electrical measurements are manganene. For making this rheostat, all those things we are used as constant. For iron boxes, heating elements, ovens, like that, we are used nichrome. So these are the three different groups. See, these are the rheostats, resistances boxes. The high resistive conducting material here used as constant. After the third category, that is as nichrome. Daily life we are used in our domestic applications, rice cookers, heaters, heating coil, iron box, all are made with what? Nichrome. So this is the first group, it is made with manganene. The second group, rheostat, stands, all those things are made with constant. And the last is nichrome. These are the elements used. Here, what is the filament used for the bulbs? Tungsten, because of that high resistivity material. What is the material used for the following lamps? That is mercury, carbon. See, these are also high resistive materials. Mercury lamps is there. After that, carbon. Carbon is also used as some commutator brushes, all those things. These are also. What are the types of conducting materials used for house wiring, electrical machine windings, power transmission lines, like that type of applications? There we are using low resistivity conducting materials like copper, aluminum and their alloys are used. Because of that, contains very low value of resistance, their power losses will be less. Heat dissipation is also less. That's why in those type of applications we are using low resistive material. In previous we are using high resistive materials. It is used for resistances, filament in bulbs, mercury lamps, some type of heating elements. All those things are related to high resistive elements. Now we are moving to the part that is contains wiring type. That wiring of electrical machine windings, power transmission lines, like that. For all the purpose we are using the low resistive materials. So what is this low resistive materials? What is the quality for this? Let's study about this low resistive material. Materials having high conductivity. Because of that, here resistance is very less. If resistance is less, then conductivity is more. So losses, voltage drops, all those things are less. Heat dissipations, like that. What are the known example for this? That is gold, silver, copper, aluminium. All are having low resistive materials. In our house, which type of materials are used? Low resistive materials. Because of that, it possessing very low value of resistivity. So it is used for such type of applications where power losses, voltage drops should be low. If this voltage drop or power losses all are more, then our electric bill is more, but useful power will be less. That's why here it is very much required to use it as a low resistive materials in house wiring as conductors for supplying power to various appliances. In our home, which type of appliances we are used? Electrical appliances, that are TV, fan, light, fridge. All the things are, and sometimes motor, mixie, iron box, all those things are the equipment. To supply power to our equipment, we are using some wires. Those wires is of having low resistive material. It is of copper, aluminium, gold, silver, steel, zinc, bronze, brass, cadmium. Those are some type of low resistive materials. In that, what we are well known? Copper and aluminium are most probably used. After that, ACSR is also used. Here for winding purpose we are always used copper wires. The windings used in transformers, motor windings. Here this is a windings. Fan also, if we open our fan, it is also having some windings. It is always made with copper only. Next, in our transmission and distribution lines, sometimes we are using towers at transmission system. poles, pole-like structures like that are used in distribution lines. See, this is the transmission and distribution lines. There we are used our low resistive type of materials. Overall, we are observed so many types of material. In that conductivity material, if we studied, these are having some electrical and mechanical properties, economical properties. Pure conducting materials are not satisfied our requirement. So, we are giving some heat treatment, that is hardening and annealing methods. Next, the classification of conducting materials, low resistivity materials and high resistivity material. Low resistivity material just now we are studied, that is used for the purpose of wiring purpose and windings also. Next, high resistive materials are used for so many type of applications, like to made with resistances, to measuring resistances boxes, filament in bulbs, like that. It has so many applications. So let's see what are the requirement of this low resistive material. Here the low resistive material should have low temperature coefficient of resistant. It must be very less voltage drop and gives high mechanical strength and expect very small power losses. It must be ductility and malleability, the low contact resistance and resistant to corrosion. No brittleness, low specific resistance, high solderability and low cost. This is about the low resistivity material. After that, low resistivity material, we are studied about the high resistive materials also. Next, we are seeing the properties of copper. Why this is commonly used, and properties of copper used for our different types of cables. What are the main application of this copper? It is used for transformer and motor windings. Next, and two types of copper we are used, that is annealed copper and hard core copper. If we are giving treatment to our copper by using annealing method, then it is called annealed copper. If we are giving heat treatment, that is hardening method, it is called hot drawn copper. It is used for overhead conductors and bus bars. By this hot drawn copper, its mechanical strength is very high and gives very tensile strength. And we are compare the copper with the aluminium by some properties. We are studied the properties of aluminium. Here main drawback is it is not solderable. If it is brittled or anything broken suckers, it is very difficult to solder. Can be rolled, forged and drawn into wires, but it cannot be welded easily. It cannot be welded or it cannot be soldered also. Some cases this aluminium is very useful. Because of that, it does not react with rubber, hence suitable for rubber insulated cables. And we have studied the properties of this aluminium. After that, what are the main applications for this aluminium? Mostly it is used for our overheaded systems and used for as a conductor for overheaded systems and bus bars. In our house wiring scheme also we are used this aluminium. These are all the things we are observed in this video. In this overheaded, we are using aluminium conductors. Just we are already seen this. In some areas we are just on the roadway or bus. We are seeing some overheaded systems, towers like that. There we are using aluminium conductors. In our houses we are using some wires. If we cut the wire, inside what is the material used? Copper. And we are observed these materials also. In our street ends we are having transformers. And in our houses we are having motors for water supply. There we are using copper conductors. And the next thing is we are compare this copper and aluminium. Copper is having much more advantages, but it is very costly comparative with aluminium. Aluminium is a little bit cheap than the copper, but copper is having very high conductivity. If 100% conduction is made with copper, only 75% conductivity takes by using aluminium. Like that, so many properties or comparisons we are observed in this video. Hope you understand. This is already all our theory points. This is a summary of our conducting materials. Thank you, and thank you for watching this.